Hey everyone, Scott BB Business on Purpose. It's Monday, my favorite day of the week, a bizarre Monday. We are in the midst of this global pandemic and a lot going on, and there's a lot that we want to be able to share with you. Hey, before I jump in, this link that's popping up on the screen right now, you'll see it there. This Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, we just had a call today, but this coming Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, if you go to bit.ly/biz owner huddle, you'll be able to join us for our midday business owner huddle call. And we invite our banker friend Andy, our CPA friend Patrick, our government affairs friend Chris, and we'll also have an attorney, David Ash, and some other players on that will be very valuable to helping you navigate a lot of the things that are going on right now. Really, really important for you to be there. So I wanted to make sure that you are aware of that and had all the details. So just go to that link right there that I've got at bit.ly/biz owner huddle. Hey, you know, I've been walking through and working through the true account of Earnest Shackleton's 1914 voyage from England to Antarctica, where Shackleton and an entire British nation were hoping that he would be the first man to cross the Antarctic continent on foot. Back then, obviously, exploration, as it is today, just in different formats, very big. I'm a little more than 3/4 of the way through Alfred Lansing's powerfully descriptive book entitled Endurance. That's the name of the ship, incidentally. Shackleton's Incredible Voyage. And already the principles of leadership in light of our current global pandemic are glaring, and even in light of the current vacuum of leadership that we're feeling. Leadership is no longer a nice-to-have conference topic with palatable nuggets to fill mandatory business training time. Leadership, as it stands today, is literally life and death. Take a look at this. This is the unemployment rate. And I want you to know this is a line on the far right of the screen. That's an actual line in the graph. It's not a typo. It's not a line. That is actually happening. So I want you to contrast that line on the far right of the screen and go back to just before 2010 and 2008. And you could see at the height of what we thought was the worst. And unemployment is completely outstripping that. Healthcare workers in certain locales throughout the world are teetering on this acute burnout. Now, what we're not going to do is contribute to the doom and gloom. We're going to contribute to light is what we're going to do. And the idea behind this book, Endurance, that I'm leading, and the trip that Shackleton led himself was to push through hard things. In fact, the word endure literally carries with it this idea of pushing through hard things. And the truth is that today, things are hard. They're hard for a lot of people, even for people who can weather the storm financially, who can weather the storm emotionally, psychologically, although it's still hard. This was such a challenging expedition that Shackleton reportedly posted an advertisement in the London Times newspaper, and here's what it said. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return, doubtful. Honor and recognition in case of success. You know, the increased spike of pandemic and infection and death and all of those things, along with the unemployment chart that I showed you just a minute ago, in contrast to the bottoming out of the stock market, today it's up, incidentally, are visual indicators that things are in the beginning stages of just being hard, and may likely get a little harder as the long winter of the health and economic challenge sets in to some extent. So in temperatures far worse than where many of us are situated right now, Shackleton led through unimaginable burden and courage. And so there's 5 takeaways throughout the book that I've gone through so far that I'm pulling out of that we can install right now so that in a decade or a century, future generations can look back at our actions today and name it as a banner or under the banner of endurance. So 5 things I want to talk about real quick. Number 1, leadership requires an internal resolve and conviction based on truth and experience. Shackleton had spent a lifetime of studying and of thinking, exploring, putting him in a position to have a steely but mindful courage. He was a young guy, too, to be able to see that. The second thing that this book talks about in this book, Endurance, Shackleton would often go out late into the night and early in the morning to stand and just walk alone. It's not lost on me that amidst all of this that's happening, it's happening in and around Holy Week. And likely one of the most infamous, lonely, dark of the night souls experiences that we've seen is accounted in the Gospels of the Christian Bible, where Jesus is shown to have walked into a Middle Eastern garden. I've not been there, but I've heard you could still walk there today, and began sweating blood due to the immense amount of pressure he was experiencing in anticipation for what was about to come. And so both leaders, Shackleton on this enduring leadership journey and voyage down into the Antarctic, and Jesus, the Jewish Jesus, which with a much more impactful and globally impactful issue of what he was going through, both leaders needed to retreat to sharpen their eyes to see and their ears to hear. There's a third thing that I saw in this book that has really been profound, and that is, let the experts be the experts. Shackleton surrounded himself with legitimate, others-centered experts and allowed them to be the expert. On the Endurance Voyage, there were dog handlers and navigators, boat pilots, rowers, engine mechanics, cooks. The entire expedition was fueled by experts in each area. This was not the Shackleton show. He was the producer, but everybody else were the actors on the main stage, and Shackleton called the plays, and the team executed in Arctic temperatures and with a selflessness. So the fourth thing that I've pulled away, this great, powerful story of leadership from Earnest Shackleton, was he had to be decisive because the Antarctic ice waits for no man. And throughout being stranded on the various ice drifts, Shackleton would call the men at a moment's notice to completely pack camp, like boom, right away, load up the lifeboats and switch to an adjacent drift on an experiential hunch. He just had a hunch that it would help them navigate to their rescue destination, which he hoped would be there. He wasn't even sure. The Antarctic Sea was unpredictable. It was fluid, no pun intended, and it was very unforgiving. Acting decisively was fraught with risk, but indecisiveness was certain death. And the final thing that I took away from this book was Shackleton ran his days with the gift of a schedule. When there were things to do, a schedule made plenty of sense due to a crew of 28 men needing rest and rhythm. But even the menu each day was a careful selection of nutrition and preservation and rationing. More interesting to me, though, was Shackleton's adherence to a strict schedule precisely when there was absolutely nothing to do, while the team was stranded for days and for weeks. In fact, there's great pictures that show where the Antarctic could be dark all day, 24 hours a day, or it could be light all day and night, depending on the season. Shackleton always laid down a schedule for his team to follow. For some of you, the days feel like they're filled with darkness. For other of you, they feel like they're filled with light. Regardless, we've got to be practitioners of good leadership. Let's build and demonstrate resolve. Let's show courage. Let's spend time alone to see and hear in the quiet. Let's surround ourselves with experts and empower them to share their expertise and to be decisive. And let's operate via a helpful and mindful schedule. We may never have another opportunity to lead like we have right now. So let's lead with endurance. Yeah, I said that right. We may never have another opportunity to lead like the opportunity we have right now. So let's lead with endurance. It's a great opportunity for us. Hey, we don't talk about it much, but head on over to iTunes or any podcast app and just click in there, My Business on Purpose, the My Business on Purpose podcast. We've been running this podcast for now over 5 years. Almost 400 episodes are there just to serve you with great leadership insight, great perspective on what it means to be liberated from business chaos. So make sure to check us out, not only there, but also on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and on LinkedIn. You can like us, subscribe to it. You can do all the things that you've got to do right there. And make sure that you also don't forget this Thursday, if you go to this link, bit.ly/biz owner huddle, you can join us for our business owner huddle this coming Thursday as we help you navigate through the choppy waters of what's going on with our business and economic climate right now. Hey, thanks as always for joining us, and we hope that we can help liberate you from the chaos of working in your business. Now let's go lead.